Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Tottenham 1, Manchester City 0. Now this might seem something that has happened in the past, but it was not. Something different happened yesterday. Tottenham won with a different game plan. They did something very different and we'll dive into how Tottenham won against Manchester City again yesterday. And Pep ने फिर से खराब कर दिया सब वापस वही ओवर थिंकिंग वही टैक्टिकल चेंजेस दैट डिड नॉट वर्क ही ट्राइड टू अडेप्ट टू मच एंड मेरे हिसाब से काफ़ी गलत किया उसने eventually he tried to adapt in the second half again and it went wrong. So we'll dive into the tactical analysis of the fixture. And when you look at the screen, City started with a 3 to technically 4-1 or a 5 as they say, and Spurs is a 3-4-3 setup. This is how they were on paper. This is how they were looking on paper and working out in the game. Although during the match, it should have been 3-5 technically, but Bernardo Silva was dropping between the Spurs line, and City had a front four instead of front five. Okay, so यही था majorly game में कुछ और ज़्यादा था नहीं. Tactically, there was not much to dissect. I think once we look into the dashboard and the tactical board, you'll understand there was not much in the game, but essentially this is how they lined up. And some interesting things that happened yesterday before you even dive in. Tottenham had an XG of 1.5 against City's XG of 1.3. आई डोंट रिमेंबर लास्ट एक कब हुआ बट पिछले कुछ 7-8 मैचेस में आज तक ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि टॉटनहम का एक्सजी अगेंस्ट सिटी इज मोर देन 1. इनफैक्ट आज तक सिटी से ज़्यादा एक्सजी उन्होंने अक्यूमुलेट ही नहीं किया है. पिछले 10 गेम में टोटल टॉटनहम में एक्सजी अक्यूमुलेट किया था 9.6. So having an XG of 1.5 against City on their home ground, in fact, having an XG exceeded by City is something phenomenal, and they worked hard for it, and we'll see how. ठीक है तो पिच मैप पे चलते. दिस इज हाउ सो आई हैव नॉट पुट नेम्स बट आई थिंक यू गाइस कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट एवरी प्लेयर इज. दिस इज द लेफ्ट हैंड साइड in the maroon shade where is City, in the white shade we have Tottenham. So when City had the ball they had so let's say when they had the ball they had a front four where Grealish was pressing high, Mahrez was here, Alvarez was something on in the half space, and Haaland was still very central and Bernardo was dropping in. So when you push people ahead, we had something of this sort of a formation. And Haaland was here, Alvarez was here. He was supposed to support Bernardo Silva, but he was somewhat in that situation. And yeah, बॉल के साथ अकांजी यहाँ पे, वॉकर यहाँ पे, आके यहाँ पे. In the first half, तीनों सेंटर बैक काफ़ी क्लोज थे. They were not open wide, they were very central. On the contrary, when Tottenham were defending, they did something which was phenomenal. I think that is how they won the game. They had Kulusevski pressing number 6, which is Ake. Unke front three basically were pressing high. They were trying to attack the ball, go for the ball. Number 5 were marking and close enough to number 30 Bentancur, was close enough to Rodri. Number 5 Højbjerg was close enough to Rico Lewis. And whenever Mahrez was dropping or Grealish was dropping, the fullbacks were attacking. The fullbacks were pressing high and trying to win the ball. So if you see, there's a huge space in between the lines for Bernardo to operate. So between the second defensive and this area, this entire between the line area, Bernardo had huge space to operate. And Akanji, if he had the ball somewhat here, and he just had to make one pass, and that would have been very easy for him to. So he had an obvious pass from here. Wait, let's say in general, let's say he had an obvious pass from here, but the ball could have been to Bernardo Silva easily. So I think personally the strategy had been fine on paper, but what Tottenham did well was press. उनकी जो press थी, that was phenomenal. I think जो press थी, that was the key to Tottenham winning. As you can see in the image as well, Tottenham are pressing very high up the pitch. The first or the only goal that Tottenham scored was also due to this press. Players push हुए पीछे. They were forced to play from the back. Akanji यहाँ पे, Kane was pressing high, Son was pressing high, Kulusevski high, Rico Lewis पे Højbjerg का press आया, and they won the ball and then they counter-attacked and scored. So the essential idea was here. In fact, Bernardo Silva is just जो space में खाली है, they committed Romero or whoever the extra man was to actually go and charge and press him. You can see at this point, not Romero, but Dyer was pressing him. Had Davis marking Alvarez, we had Emerson Royal marking Grealish, Perisic marking Mahrez, and they took the chance, they took the risk. पीछे 3v3 था, so whenever required, maybe Grealish or maybe Mahrez was doing it. Mostly Grealish was doing a 3v3 with the back three of Tottenham alongside Haaland and Alvarez. But Tottenham did commit numbers. उन्होंने risk लिया. They took that risk. They took that intensity and pressure and put it on the opposition. And you can see in the screenshot as well. Dyer half line पे है pressing Bernardo Silva, going man to man. And those 50-50, it really helped them winning those chances. So yeah, in my opinion, that was very essential in of them winning the ball and winning back the game. For me personally, the high press what Tottenham had and the intensity of that man to man high press was something very important. अ, और बर्नार्डो सिल्वा काफ़ी खाली था, काफ़ी ओकेशंस में यहाँ पे चांसेस थे कि बॉल लाइक जैसे रिको लुइस या रॉड्री के पास थे एंड दीज पीपल वर प्रेसिंग प्रीटी लो. लेट्स से इट वाज अ सेटअप वेयर बॉल इनके हाफ में थी, रॉड्री ड्रॉप किया, रिको लुइस इज देयर फॉर सपोर्ट, बर्नार्डो अगेन इन बिटवीन द लाइंस, मारेज बैक, Mahrez also pressing high, and Walker wide. Son almost there to intercept. Kane trying to press. Akanji behind him. Ake wide. So in this was majorly in the second half when the ball was with Rodri. Bernardo was dropping in, and he could have passed the ball here. So what Tottenham did good was, and what Tottenham did well, when in the second half, Pep said basically that fullbacks, like the center backs, go wide. So when you go wide, ball जब Walker के पास आ रही थी, he had enough time when the ball went from Akanji. Let's say the ball went from Akanji to Walker. He had enough time to find Rodri, Akanji, and find the winger. So first half में ये नहीं हो रहा था. First half में बिल्कुल भी नहीं हो रहा था. First half में बॉल जब वॉकर के पास आ रही थी तो वॉकर का सटक जा रही थी. इनफैक्ट he did not have enough space and the press was so intense that he couldn't find the winger. But second half में since Pep said कि भाई जो center backs है वो wide चले जाओ and we'll try to force the ball outside. And Tottenham dealt with this amazingly. So what Tottenham did when the centre backs was wide, what they did was they called in everyone inside. So जब जब सब पास में आ गए तो ऐसा बहुत बारी हो रहा था कि ऐसा सिचुएशन है where the ball is with Walker, Son obviously press करने जा रहा है. They were like कि भाई केन तू थर्ड जो सेंटर बैक है उसको मार्क करना छोड़, go for the CDM. So Kane was marking the CDM. Kulusevski was somewhere here. Again, Hoy, Bentancur marking Bernardo Silva. Or maybe if Bentancur is going and getting drawn away by Alvarez because he's making runs behind, Hoiberg आके extra effort लेके Bernardo को mark कर रहा था. So they were still charging up and cutting the passing lanes as much as they can, and that was essentially how they overcame Manchester City as a team, and that is how essentially they overcame every possible situation where they had to press and attack City. मेरे हिसाब से the game plan was very simple. This was how Tottenham did. And once they had the ball, they were counter attacking. So एक situation था जब बॉल सिटी के पास थी. They had control when Bernardo Silva was out. इस सिचुएशन में बॉल थी. Alvarez was making a run. Haaland was making a run. Perisic यहाँ पे था. Son यहाँ पे था. Kane was making a diagonal outside. And when you see this, जब आप ये स्क्रीन देखते हो, you realize that once the center backs are very wide, तब जो ये स्पेस है, जो ये बीच का स्पेस है, इफ यू लुक एट दिस स्पेस, जो ये स्पेस है, ये स्पेस है, it's very easy for Kane to actually make a run outside. So it's his wish. He could really get drawn away from here. यहाँ पे भाग सकता है. Son has a space to run here side. This Kulusevski can here. So they have enough space to make those runs, and that is what happened in the second half. If you see the screen, Kulusevski and especially Son had enough counterattacks. They were making it a 3v4 situation at times when Kevin De Bruyne had to drop and defend. Even in this screenshot, when you see this, they won the ball high up the pitch. That's a thing. That's obviously something that they were trying to do. But again, once you get the ball in this screenshot, if you look, they got the ball here in this area, and then they launched the counter. Unfortunately, Kane made a good run and he tried to go outside, but he couldn't. So Kane tried to make a run here. He tried to gather the ball. The pass was poor. इसलिए वो counter attack convert नहीं हो पाया. But the idea was same. The idea was just to try to launch the ball in that spaces which City had left open, and City were doing that and taking chances to in just cases to attack the opposition. A very interesting stat throughout the game was what I found was Haaland had zero penalty area touches yesterday. He had massive touches. So in the first half, he had 14, which is way above his average in usual games. And second half में भी उसके काफ़ी touches थे. Because एक चीज़ जो हो रही थी जब सिटी के पास बॉल थी फर्स्ट हाफ में भी और सेकंड हाफ में भी, जब सिटी के पास बॉल थी सेंटर बैक्स के पास या कीपर के पास, तो एंड टॉटनहम वर प्रेसिंग हाई समथिंग लाइक दिस over here, and Bernardo was also dropping here and getting marked. So by Dyer, Haaland was dropping deep to get the ball. Not that they did not risk. They were not. Tottenham were not worried about it. They were very. They knew what was happening, and they were trying to commit numbers to it. And उन्होंने properly Romero ने Grealish and Haaland पे काफी charge किया, press किया, and काफी aggressively attempt किया, which also resulted into a red card, and that was bound to happen probably. But yes, when they had the ball, they were trying to put it long to Haaland so that there is a counter attack that could be launched. But again, Haaland here in the half space, if he has to drop, I am probably not sure what is happening with the team. Maybe Grealish could drop here. Bernardo should be in between the lines. Alvarez could probably drop then, and Haaland could go ahead. But even when Haaland was dropping, it was not resulting into something much because Grealish lacks pace. Now he does have pace obviously, but he's not the most pacey player. So जब ये हो रहा था जब Haaland drop कर रहा था and Grealish was trying to overlap, Emerson Royal was easily to track back him and cut back the passes. So that was something that was happening. Another thing, when Tottenham were pressing high basically, तो ऐसा एक भी सिचुएशन नहीं था जब एडरसन के पास बॉल हो and he could let's say there's a high line maintained and Tottenham are pressing the full the attackers as well. There's not one chance when Ederson could have launched the ball into the space to probably a Grealish to make a run fast here. Sterling does that and Foden does that. Gabriel Jesus is also fast. He can do. Haaland does that a lot. So you've seen Ederson using his long pass range to Haaland. Find Haaland sometime in this space when Haaland is here. He did that against Brighton, if I remember, where they played a similar ball. The keeper launched the long ball. Haaland took it and he scored. This was not possible yesterday. They were not able to try and utilize Ederson at all. They were not able to pass that ball. So that's certainly something that they lacked as well. But yeah, apart from this, I think this was essentially the game plan where Tottenham was pressing high. They were committing numbers. In fact, Dyer, Davies, Romero, they were committing so high. They were at times on the half lane. If you look at their heat map, you will understand it much more in detail. But essentially, it was almost a man-to-man press. Press high, press with intensity, and Tottenham wanted to bring the ball up and cut the passing lane. So they essentially wanted to cut Bernardo Silva in that between the line space, and yeah, it did not work. So Pep went with a 3-2-1-4 situation instead of a 3-2-5, which he usually does, and he left the half space. It was not a typical Man City performance. Usually they put a lot of passes in the between the wide line and the half space and the central midfield space. So they put a lot of triangle passes there, tried to force the move, but yesterday that was not happening. And yeah, this is how the team looked like finally, and this is how the game was in my opinion. I think overall it was decent. Tottenham totally deserved that win. I think City still need to improve. Pep again overthought. I think a 3-2-5 would have been a much better situation. I think De Bruyne benching is also not the ideal situation. When he came on as a number 10 in place, when Bernardo was shifted to the right in place of Mahrez, I don't think it worked out well. Again, it's the same tactical problem that they had, that they were Tottenham were committing numbers, they were pressing high and pressing well, and there was no answer from City. So the only answer they had, Pep had when he shifted the centre backs wide, was something which Tottenham again exploited on the counter attack. So yeah, out and out, very good tactical approach by Tottenham. And yeah, this is the breakdown from me by me. I know it's very short. It's quick. It was a quick turnaround, so I didn't have a lot of time to record this video. Might look a bit not in depth, but again, if you like this analysis, do hit the like button. Let me know if I should do more analysis like this. Do I do it in Hindi, English, whatever you like? Let me know so that we know and we make more content in that genre. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. This is FPL Tips. See you in the next video. Bye.